Action. Nothing was ever going to be the same. Danger.
If I slip up or if I turn my eye for just 1 second, someone could get the drop on me.
Adventure.
The Amazon River, they have a version of everything in North America except bigger and scarier.
You're listening to Sea Story.
Episode 26, Tattoo.
My name is Chief Grant Khanbalinov. I'm a Navy career counselor recruiter, and I'm from Staten Island, New York, and this is my sea story. Tattoos are a staple for the Navy. Like, you think of a Navy sailor and you just think of like their cover slanted in a tank top with a cigar in their hand and just covered in tattoos. The Navy definitely held true to that tradition. Some of the main tattoos and some of the traditional tattoos that you'll see, swallows. Some people put them on their chest, others put them on their hands. There's really two meanings. One is returning home, because when a ship is pulling in, you'll see them starting to circle the ship, and that's how you know that you're getting close to home. And then another one is for every 5,000 miles that you sail, you're supposed to get a swallow tattooed on you. You have the nautical star. Nautical star is pretty self-explanatory, just for guidance. One of my favorite ones, but I'm too scared to get it tattooed on my feet, is the pig and rooster. And like old school Navy days when we actually had pigs and roosters on the ship, they were kept in metal crates, metal and wood, or mostly wood. And whenever the ship would sink, those crates would float. So you get those tattooed on your feet so that you would never sink. So Sailor Jerry made this iconic career of making nautical tattoos that a lot of sailors just like gravitated to. And one of his famous tattoos were the Navy pinup girl. And his meaning behind it was, you get a Navy pinup girl because that's the only girl you're gonna see for a very long time. Even though being a totally different time, like culturally, sailors still get those tattoos. That's how I decided to get mine. First thing when you get out of boot camp, they tell you not to get tattoos, but the only thing that you could imagine and dream of is getting a tattoo. They say don't go right outside the gate or don't go anywhere by base. People still do it, and I'm sure they turn out a lot better than mine did. I went home on leave, went up to a place in New York. I was extremely excited. I was finally 18 years old. I don't need mom and dad to sign off on this tattoo, and I wanted this pinup girl. I did a lot of research. I found one that I wanted, and the one that I wanted was a female sailor in dress whites sitting on a cannon. Blonde flowing hair, very appealing tattoo on Google Images. So I go in there, I go to this tattoo artist. They said that he was definitely one of the best ones there. I was very excited. It hurt a lot, I'm not gonna lie. I was there for about 8 hours. I didn't want to look at it too much because I wanted to be excited when I saw it. Again, this is my first tattoo. I don't know much about it, but got the outline done. It looked really good. Took a little break. He went and had a cigarette. I guess he was really stressed out about something. And then it came to the color. Again, looked amazing. I was all done, very excited about it. He put the soap on it, wiped it off, had me look at it. So I kind of just glanced over at it. It looked fine. And he was telling me, oh, the colors will bleed. Don't worry about it. It's gonna look totally different in a week. So there are some things that I didn't like about it, but believe the professional that was sitting right there with me. My sister was actually there too, and she's like, oh, it looks great. It's gonna look so good in a week. Once it peels and everything, it's gonna look like an amazing tattoo. We went to Starbucks, her friend was there. She had me show it to her friend. Her friend said the same exact thing on how amazing this tattoo looked. I was feeling really good about myself. So a week goes by and it peels and scabs over. I'm noticing that it's not looking any better and it's actually starting to look worse. And then another week goes by and now it's fully healed. And it just, in my eyes, I'm trying to convince myself that it looks really nice, but it didn't. And at this point, my sister was actually one of the first people to tell me, what did you do? That tattoo looks horrible. I guess I was just in denial, or maybe the angle that I was looking at it, it was like a bad angle to look at her, but it looked fine. It looked fine to me. So I got off leave, I went to my ship, and in the berthing, when we go shower and stuff, it's usually like we don't have a shirt on, and that's when reality set in, when all my friends saw it and just started destroying me for this tattoo. And that's when I opened my eyes and really looked at it and noticed how horrible it looked. It was supposed to look like this really traditional, old-school Navy recruiting poster. A girl, and she's sitting on a cannon, and the cannon's about to fire, and just like a really traditional tattoo like that. That's really what I was shooting for. The cannon looked like a toilet. She has a very significant, large hunch in her back. And she definitely looks like she's mid-heave, maybe getting ready for the second wave to go into the toilet that she's sitting on. And the way that she was sitting, her left knee looked like the back of the toilet. It looked like the toilet seat. So not only was the toilet there, but it was also open. Her body was just extremely oddly proportioned. Her belt was way too tight. I mean, she was everywhere. Her arms looked very strange. Her neckerchief actually looked fine. It was very well tied. I was impressed about that. She had like 3 layers to her neck, which were overlapping each other. And then it got to her face. That's where the problem really started. Her nose. Her nose is non-existent. She just has 2 holes in her face. She had just 1 bottom tooth. It made my teeth look like art. I think one of them was knocked out from like a bar fight. She was in rough shape. Then it got to her eyes, and her eyes were even worse. One of them was cross-eyed. You couldn't really tell where she was looking. The other one was just black, like a black eye. So not only did she have teeth knocked out, but she also had a black eye. It got really creepy because the more you looked at her, the more her eyes followed you. And being on a very small ship, I was on a frigate. It was all male, so about 150 guys. That's where the abuse and punishment really started. And we left for 6 months, and I got it for 6 months. From the lowest brand new E1 check-in to the commanding officer of the ship came up to me at some point and said, "Let me see her." It got to the point where on the mess decks, because I was in coveralls, I would just go half-mast and tie my coveralls like around my waist and lift my sleeve up so people could just walk by, see it, laugh, take pictures. Thank God social media wasn't really too big back then because it would have been all over the place. It would have been absolutely everywhere. After about 6 months, we got back from deployment. First thing I did was I made sure, you can go on 2 different types of leave. I made sure to take the first 2 weeks. As soon as we pulled in, I called, I was like, "Hey, I need an appointment for a tattoo." They got me in the next day, and I was like, this is what I got here. All the tattoo artists, their jaws just dropped. The guy no longer worked there, so I could only imagine what he put other people through. Another tattoo artist said, "Yeah, I'll do it. I cover it up for you." He quoted me at $800, and at this point, I was just like, I don't care how much it is. I only have 2 options. Cut my arm off, cover it up. So I decided to cover it up because I'm a righty, and it would have been hard to learn how to write with my left hand. He was like, "Okay, what do you want to cover it up with?" I said, "I do not care." Then he was like, "Wait a second, how about a koi fish?" I'm like, "Great, please, let's do a koi fish. I don't care at this point." It took about 12 hours. Did it all in one sitting because I didn't want to see her ever again. And multiple smoke breaks, the tattoo artist just had to leave and think to himself, like, I don't even know if this is going to work. Because it's going to be a lot of shading and a lot of really digging in to my arm to cover up this tattoo. But 12 hours later, I had an amazing koi fish on my arm and never had to see her again. As I'm sitting there, like I'm telling him my story and what I just did on deployment and doing counter-piracy boardings and all this stuff, after the tattoo was done, he was like, "You know, don't even worry about it. This one is on us. He didn't charge me for covering it up." She's still on me, so it's not like she disappeared. She's just covered now by a fish. And that's something that I'm gonna have to live with for the rest of my life. I think about her sometimes. It's kind of like one of those relationships that, you know, you try to forget about her, but every now and then you're reminded of it. The Navy accepts bad tattoos, but they do not accept bad decisions when it comes to tattoos. So you can go ahead and get yourself a tattoo, but if it doesn't look good, be prepared for the repercussions that come with that. Don't get bad tattoos, kids. If you liked my story, subscribe or give Sea Story 5 stars.
Coming next.
That's what you do when you get ready to go to war.
Sea Stories brought to you by America's Navy. Learn more at Navy.com.